But what's the difference between a GOMOR and a court-martial then?
Well, a court-martial is criminal in nature. So a court-martial means that you're going to a criminal trial, you have charges preferred against you, and you have the right to a jury, you have a right to production of evidence, and the government has to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
That's what a court-martial or a trial is. So what happens, so typically the way this works, Jason, is there'll be an investigation into a case, whether that's the AR-15-6 investigation, whether that's the CID investigation, and that will go to either the command or OSTIC. Remember, OSTC is the Office of the Special Trial Counsel. They're the ones who make all the decisions in sex assault cases. So it will either go to OSTC if it's a sexual assault or a shark case, or it'll go to your chain of command if it's BAH or anything, a fight, an aggravated assault, whatever it happens to be that's non-OSTIC. From there, a decision is going to be made saying, are we going to take this to court-martial or not? If a decision is made to take it to court-martial, then charges are preferred against you, which is the functional equivalent of being indicted, and you're facing criminal charges. That's going to a court-martial. And if you're convicted, now you have a criminal record, you can be going to prison. A whole host of bad consequences can occur. On the other side is non-judicial. So think of NJP, non-judicial punishment, like in Article 15. This is an adverse administrative action, so it's short of a court-martial. So what happens is they say, either we don't think the charges are severe enough to warrant a court-martial, or more often than not in the Army, is we don't think we can prove it at a court-martial. We don't have enough evidence. We can't get beyond a reasonable doubt. The case isn't strong enough. The alleged victim doesn't want to participate. You name it. They don't think they can get a conviction, so they'll go the route of a GOMOR. And when that's the case, you have a lot fewer rights. So number one, you don't have beyond a reasonable doubt. You're not getting a jury. You don't have the right to production of evidence. All of the things you have, all of the rights you have constitutionally guaranteed, and under the UCMJ you don't have. You get a letter saying, Captain Schmedelap, you sexually assaulted a fellow soldier on this day. You are hereby reprimanded. You have 7 days to file a rebuttal. I've got 7 days to draft a rebuttal to a sexual assault charge. And we see this a lot now in cases where the OSTIC defers the charges, meaning that they don't think there's enough evidence to go forward to prefer charges. So now you have 7 days to do written rebuttal matters that you didn't sexually assault someone. Where in my mindset is, if you actually believe someone sexually assaulted a fellow soldier, why the hell are we at a GOMOR? This should be at a court-martial.
Sure.
But the reality is they didn't have enough evidence, or the victim didn't want to go forward, or whatever it is, so it goes to a GOMOR. So that's the real difference. And again, it can be sexual assault, BAH cases. It's very common for BAH cases to go to GOMORs. And there's not a specific dollar limit, but every jurisdiction seems to have a dollar limit. In Korea, for example, where BAH is probably the most prevalent, or OHA fraud in the world, it seems that, at least currently, and this can change with every kind of administration or cycle of prosecutors, if the fraud is under $20,000, they don't prosecute it. So if you steal $15,000 or $18,000 of BAH fraud, typically they're saying that's not enough to go to a court-martial, so you get a GOMOR. The GOMOR gets permanently filed, and from there you either are kicked out of the Army or you have a right to an administrative separation board. Now, let's make it abundantly clear, that's not a hard and fast rule, but I see probably 10, 15 BAH fraud cases a year out of Korea, and that's what we're seeing. So higher dollar amounts are going to court-martial, lower dollar amounts are going to GOMORs. Likewise, sex assault cases. A sex assault case where, let's say you have an alleged victim who makes an allegation. Maybe they want their 100% disability rating through MTRS, and they make an allegation. They want the documentation so they can go to VA and get their rating. And it's a completely false claim. The investigation goes forward. They say they don't want to participate in the investigation or the trial. And so instead of, they say, well, we can't go to trial because we don't have a alleged victim that's going to testify. OSTIC defers it. They'll send it to a GOMOR. And now the CG signs off on it saying, hey, use your bad paper saying you sexually assaulted someone.